90% of mobile detailing startups fail in year one. It's not because they lack customers, but because they blow their first $5,000 on overpriced pressure washers and luxury vacuums they don't even need. In this video, I'm breaking down the exact core equipment you need for under $1,000 and how to run it to hit profitability in your very first week. When an environmental inspector catches your chemical-heavy wash water running straight into a neighborhood storm drain, that's a $10,000 daily municipal fine, vaporizing your entire year's net profit before lunch. Because when the sky turns gray and 3 consecutive days of torrential rain wipe out your entire booking schedule, your commercial truck loans, commercial liability insurance, and software licensing fees don't pause. They keep draining your bank account while your revenue hits absolute zero. Today, we're skipping the social media hype. We are opening the actual operating ledger of a real mobile detailing setup to break down the exact raw material costs, fully loaded labor burdens, and the hidden operational friction you must master before risking your life savings on a fantasy. Let's look at the financial spreadsheet that lured David into this trap. Meet David, a 34-year-old former regional logistics supervisor from Columbus, Ohio. For nearly a decade, David survived on a $62,000 salary, enduring constant corporate restructuring, endless middle management bureaucracy, and the toxic stress of corporate metrics. Tired of building someone else's empire, David watched hours of aesthetic mobile detailing videos on YouTube and TikTok. The enticing pitch was intoxicating, a business model requiring zero brick-and-mortar rent, low overhead, and wealthy suburban clients willing to hand over massive piles of cash just to keep their luxury vehicles looking flawless. Seduced by the vision of ultimate entrepreneurial freedom, David withdrew his entire $35,000 family savings account. He spent $18,000 cash on a pre-owned Ford Transit 250 cargo van, then spent another $7,000 outfitting it with the ultimate modern amateur arsenal, a commercial-grade pressure washer, a dual-motor hot water carpet extractor, a baffle-equipped water tank, and an array of premium ceramic coatings and specialized pH-balanced chemicals. On paper, David's spreadsheet was a beautiful piece of fiction. He calculated his numbers with the naive optimism of an amateur. He figured he would service just 3 vehicles a day, charging a modest average of $150 per vehicle. 3 cars a day, 5 days a week, meant $450 a day, or $9,000 a month in gross revenue. He factored in a generous 10% for gas and chemicals, leaving him with an estimated $8,100 in net margins. It looked completely foolproof. He was going to be his own boss, work outdoors, and double his corporate salary while working fewer hours. What David completely ignored was that a spreadsheet does not account for the brutal realities of physical micro-operations, logistical friction, and the unforgiving laws of local business math. The illusion shattered during David's second week of full-time operation. The first major blow was the invisible logistical bleeding that no online guru ever talks about. David quickly realized that a mobile service provider is not a detailing business. It is a logistics company that performs detailing as a side effect. On a Tuesday morning, David had a 9 o'clock booking in Dublin, a wealthy northern suburb, followed by a 1 o'clock booking in Pickerington, 32 miles away on the southeast side of the city. Navigating a heavy commercial cargo van packed with 100 gallons of water, a heavy diesel generator, and rows of heavy machinery through metropolitan traffic turned out to be a financial nightmare. The transit time between jobs wasn't 30 minutes, it was an hour and 15 minutes of unbillable time. During those 75 minutes, David was burning premium fuel at an alarming rate, putting massive wear and tear on his vehicle's brakes and transmission, and generating exactly $0 per hour. His operational efficiency plummeted. Instead of completing 3 cars a day as his spreadsheet predicted, the realities of setup time, teardown time, traffic delays, and client communication compressed his operational capacity down to just 2 cars a day. Then came the hidden operational friction that slowly bleeds a new business dry. Suspicious, David noticed that every time a customer paid with a credit card through his slick digital invoice system, the payment gateway quietly sliced off 3% plus 30 cents by merchant swipe fees. A $200 detail instantly became $193.70. Next came the crushing weight of physical exhaustion. Crawling inside hot SUVs for 4 hours at a time, scrubbing salt stains out of deep carpet fibers, and running a dual-action polisher until his arms vibrated caused immense physical fatigue. When a major corporate client booked a fleet of 5 vehicles for a Saturday morning, David, completely exhausted, hired a local helper for $20 an hour to keep up with the volume. But David didn't just pay $20 an hour. He suddenly had to deal with the reality of a fully loaded labor cost, federal payroll taxes, state unemployment insurance, and a mandatory workers' compensation policy that skyrocketed due to the high risk of repetitive strain injuries and chemical exposure. Worse, the helper lacked David's pride of ownership. On his very first day, the helper accidentally dropped a premium $60 wool polishing pad onto the gravel driveway, instantly contaminating it with microscopic rocks that scratched the clear coat of a customer's Mercedes-Benz. David spent the next 6 hours doing unpaid corrective labor and buying premium compound to fix the damage, completely wiping out the profit margin for the entire fleet job. At the end of the month, David's bank account showed $4,800 in total deposits, but after subtracting commercial auto insurance, software subscriptions, chemical replacements, fuel, and helper wages, he had less than $900 in net profit. He was working 80 hours a week just to earn less than $3 an hour. To understand why David's business began to suffocate, we must abandon amateur revenue targets and look deeply at the cold hard reality of operational microeconomics. Commanding tone. Let us break down the actual line item cost structure of a professional, legally compliant mobile detailing operation in the United States today. First, let's look at the cost of goods sold, or COGS. Amateurs assume soap and water are practically free. An experienced operator knows better. Teacher voice. Let's look at a standard multi-stage paint correction and interior detail priced at $350. Decontamination and premium wash chemicals cost $14.50. Interior cleaners, leather conditioners, and dressings add $9.25. Discarded high-glow microfiber towels contribute $6. Fuel for the onboard commercial diesel generator comes to $12.80. Travel fuel for the cargo van, which averages 12 miles per gallon, costs $18.50. Finally, merchant payment gateway swipe fees at 2.9% plus 30 cents subtract $10.45. This leaves a variable direct cost total of $71.50 per vehicle, resulting in a gross profit of $278.50. This looks great to an amateur, but an experienced operator panics because we have not yet accounted for the single heaviest financial burden, which is fully loaded labor. If you hire a single skilled detailer and pay a base rate of $25 per billable hour, a comprehensive 5-hour detail equals $125 in direct hourly wages. In the real world, you must append mandatory employer burdens. Federal payroll taxes consume $9.56. The workers' compensation insurance premium accounts for $11.20. Unbillable travel and setup time compensation adds $25. This pushes the total fully loaded labor cost to $170.76. Subtracting that labor cost from the gross profit leaves a true net operational contribution of just $107.74 per vehicle. From that tiny remaining balance, the business must now cover the absolute rigidity of its monthly fixed expenses. These expenses never take a day off, regardless of how many cars you wash. Commercial van finance loan payment requires $650. Commercial general liability and auto insurance takes $380. The automated booking and GPS routing software costs $140. Local hyper-targeted digital marketing on Google Ads demands $450. Equipment depreciation and maintenance reserve accounts for $220. This results in a total monthly fixed operational expense of $1,840. To find the true, realistic daily break-even point for this business, we divide the monthly fixed operational costs by the net operational contribution per vehicle. This shows that the business must complete 17.07 vehicles every month just to achieve a net profit of 0. Teacher voice. Assuming 20 operational days a month due to weather volatility, the business must complete nearly one high-end detail every single day just to break even. The tone darkens. If a severe rainy season or a cold winter storm hits the region and forces David to cancel bookings for just 4 consecutive days, the math becomes devastating. His fixed expenses remain completely frozen at $1,840, while his revenue drops to zero. In just 96 hours of bad weather, the business accrues a net financial deficit that requires over 16 premium details just to erase. Wise mentor voice. This is the architectural reality of small business math. If your fixed costs are rigid and your margins are thin, you are always just one bad week away from sudden insolvency. Scoffs. When face-to-face with this intense pressure, most amateur business owners fall victim to a dangerous operational delusion called a scale illusion. They think to themselves that if they're struggling to survive as a solo operator, the solution must be to expand by buying a second van, hiring 2 more employees, doubling bookings, and letting the volume take care of the overhead. Exactly this line of thinking is why the Small Business Administration tracks a staggering failure rate for service-based startups within their first 36 months. Firmly, expansion before optimization is a financial death sentence. Adding a second vehicle to an unoptimized operation doesn't double profits, it actually accelerates bankruptcy. By doubling the fleet, David instantly doubles his fixed monthly vehicle loan obligations, doubles his commercial insurance liabilities, and triples his exposure to labor volatility. Because David is now trapped managing 2 trucks on the road, he can no longer operate as a lead technician and is forced to transition entirely into an off-site manager role. The business now relies entirely on low-wage employees who have zero equity in the company. Suddenly, employee turnover rates skyrocket. Workers call in sick on a Saturday morning, leaving thousands of dollars of commercial equipment sitting completely idle in a driveway, while furious high-end clients leave scathing 1-star reviews on Google Maps because no one showed up to prep their car for a weekend show. This structural breakdown is exactly what caused the high-profile liquidation of DetailPro Midwest. They expanded aggressively from 2 mobile units to 6 across 3 metropolitan areas within 18 months, relying heavily on cheap credit and low-wage labor. When fuel prices fluctuated unpredictably and a sudden seasonal downturn hit the region, their massive fixed debt payments completely overwhelmed their unstable cash flow. They evaporated $35,000 of liquid reserves in 45 days, forcing them into a messy fire sale of their equipment for pennies on the dollar. The surviving operators, the elite 5% who build true wealth in this industry, avoid the scale trap entirely. Instead, they focus on building a deep, local niche monopoly and maximizing their sellers' discretionary earnings. They understand that the goal of a business is not to see how many vehicles you can wrap in vinyl decals. It is to maximize the amount of clean, unencumbered cash that flows directly into the owner's pocket at the end of the year. A local monopoly is built by dominating a tiny, high-value geographical area, such as a single exclusive country club community or a high-density corporate executive park, and optimizing routing efficiency down to the literal yard. By concentrating all bookings within a 3-mile radius, professional operators reduce unbillable travel time to practically zero, dropping fuel consumption by 60% and instantly unlocking the capacity to complete 4 high-margin jobs per day instead of 2. They don't compete on price with amateurs using cheap home improvement store equipment. Instead, they position themselves as an exclusive luxury service, targeting premium clear coat restorations and advanced multi-year ceramic coatings, where direct material expenses are negligible and affluent clients are perfectly willing to pay premium rates for flawless execution and absolute convenience. If you are already trapped in this cycle, or if you are planning to enter the space without losing your shirt, you must execute a cold, calculated operational turnaround. This is the exact playbook used by high-profit operators to restructure their businesses for survival. First, you must aggressively break the weather dependency trap by shifting your product architecture away from one-off transactional services. Top-tier operators transition their core client base onto automated recurring maintenance memberships. Instead of waiting for a client to remember to book a detail after a storm, you place their credit card on a bi-weekly or monthly automated billing cycle through platforms like Stripe or Square. In exchange, you provide a highly optimized recurring maintenance detail that takes half the time of an initial deep clean because the vehicle is already preserved. This transforms an unpredictable, chaotic manual labor service into a highly predictable, recurring cash flow engine that keeps the business alive during slow winter months. Second, you must optimize your physical layout to eliminate wasted overhead. If you operate out of a fixed shop space, negotiate a structural pivot in your commercial lease agreement. Attempt to convert a portion of your rigid base rent into a flexible percentage rent tied directly to verified monthly gross receipts, or sublease unutilized base space to a complementary window tinting or vinyl wrapping specialist to instantly offset your fixed real estate liabilities. Third, eliminate labor volatility by creating an internal micro-incentive structure. Instead of paying a flat, uninspiring hourly wage that encourages employees to drag out jobs, implement a flat-rate commission system where detailers receive a dedicated percentage of the net invoice value for every vehicle completed above a strict quality standard. This aligns their physical efficiency directly with your top-line revenue growth. Finally, you must build a bulletproof fortress around your cash flow. Before you even think about upgrading your pressure washer or buying a shiny new van, you must accumulate a minimum of 6 months of fixed operational expenses held in a highly liquid, high-yield business savings account. This reserve acts as a financial shock absorber, protecting your business against sudden macroeconomic shifts, equipment failures, or seasonal droughts. Note that this financial analysis and operational metrics presented in this script are for educational and documentary narrative purposes only. Small business ventures carry inherent capital risks, and local regulatory requirements vary significantly across municipal jurisdictions. Consult a certified financial planner and legal counsel before executing commercial investments. At the end of the day, the economic reality of mobile car detailing comes down to a simple, unyielding truth. The market does not care how hard you work or how passionate you are about clean cars. The market only cares about structural efficiency, cost management, and the preservation of capital. David's journey wasn't a failure because he lacked work ethic. It was a failure because he tried to solve an architectural financial puzzle with nothing but manual labor. If you want to survive the brutal arena of small business ownership, you must stop looking at the surface gloss and start mastering the underlying math. Protect your liquid capital, analyze your unit economics with absolute honesty, and build your business on numbers, not dreams. If you want to see the real, unedited ledger behind more small business models before risking your life savings, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and drop a comment below with the next industry you want us to put under the operational microscope. Stay sharp, watch your margins, and we will see you in the next breakdown. To expand this operational analysis into a sustainable business empire, we must look at the hidden architecture of long-term commercial survival. When an amateur business owner manages to stay afloat for 12 consecutive months, they often stop scrutinizing their daily metrics and allow operational complacency to take over. This is exactly where the second wave of hidden costs emerges to strangle your margins. In the mobile service sector, equipment does not wear down gradually according to a clean, straight-line depreciation schedule on a corporate spreadsheet. It breaks down suddenly, violently, and always at the worst possible operational moment. Imagine it is the peak of the summer rush in mid-July. Your booking calendar is completely solid for the next 3 weeks, representing over $7,000 in highly anticipated gross revenue. Suddenly, the pump seals on your high-pressure washer disintegrate due to extended thermal cycling, or the heating element in your commercial carpet extractor shorts out, blowing your onboard electrical inverter. An amateur operator treats this as an unfortunate stroke of bad luck and panics, rushing to the nearest retail home improvement store to buy a residential-grade replacement at full retail price using a high-interest credit card. An operator, however, has already built an aggressive equipment maintenance reserve into their cost structure. They know that every hour a diesel generator runs under a heavy electric load, it consumes oil, clogs air filters, and builds up carbon deposits. If you do not proactively service your core revenue-generating machinery every 50 operating hours, your business will suffer sudden, unbillable downtime. Downtime in a mobile service model is doubly catastrophic. Not only do you lose the direct revenue from the canceled bookings, but your customer acquisition cost instantly doubles because you now have to spend premium marketing dollars on Google Ads just to replace the disgruntled high-value clients who abandoned your brand for a dependable local competitor. Furthermore, let us unpack the true structural dynamics of local marketing efficiency, specifically focusing on the relationship between customer acquisition cost and customer lifetime value. Amateurs look at marketing through a purely linear lens. They think that spending $50 on Facebook-boosted posts to get one job worth $150 is a great deal. This shallow understanding is why they get completely crushed when heavy competition enters their territory. The moment 3 new amateur wigs appear in your zip code, bidding up the exact same local keywords on Google Ads, the cost per click skyrockets from $2 to $9. Suddenly, it costs your business $120 in digital ad spend just to secure a single phone call from a prospect who is shopping around purely for the lowest price. If your business model relies entirely on one-off transactional details, your customer acquisition cost completely consumes your front-end profit margin. You are effectively paying Google for the privilege of performing manual labor on a stranger's vehicle. The experienced operator completely bypasses this digital auction. They build an organic, localized network by target marketing high-density corporate parking structures, high-end residential towers, and country club estates through direct business-to-business partnerships. They offer private corporate benefit packages where executives can have their vehicles detailed seamlessly during their mandatory 10-hour office days. This route clustering drops your travel time to exactly 0 minutes between vehicles, allowing a single technician to systematically process 4 cars parked side by side in a single afternoon. By transforming an unorganized, scattered mobile route into a hyper-efficient stationary high-volume operation, you structurally slash your fuel consumption by 80% and completely eliminate the premium wear and tear on your cargo van's drivetrain. Let's look closely at the structural differences between an unoptimized solo operator model and a professional localized operation to see how these small efficiencies compound across an entire fiscal year. An amateur driving 30 miles between scattered jobs wastes 400 hours a year sitting in traffic, burning through thousands of dollars in unbillable wages and depreciating their vehicle. The operator utilizing route clustering converts those 400 wasted hours into productive billable time, unlocking an additional $60,000 in high-margin gross revenue without spending a single dollar on new equipment or expansion. This is the difference between working hard and working structurally. The market will always reward structural efficiency and mercilessly punish raw physical effort that lacks logistical optimization. If you are preparing to risk your personal savings in this space, you must commit to being an operator from day one. Do not build an unoptimized job for yourself. Build a lean, numbers-driven system that can withstand volatile fuel costs, unstable labor markets, and the unforgiving realities of changing seasons. Analyze your market, lock down your direct variable costs, build your liquid cash fortress, and never let the surface illusion of easy wealth blind you to the cold, hard mathematics of business survival.